1 minute, sir. I will start. Wait a minute.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah. Dear students, good morning to each one of you present today. First of all, I would like to thank our beloved chairman, vice chairman, director, principal who gave this opportunity to conduct this program today. It's a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome our resource person, Mr. Kristodian, software engineer, AstraZeneca India Private Limited, Chennai. Mr. Kristodian graduated on 2011 in CSC Engineering, Computer Science Engineering, and started his career at 2012 in IT field as a programmer with close to 10 years of experience in IT field. Okay, I'm sure that you will all feel enriched with knowledge after completion of this event. Now, I cordially invite our resource person, Mr. Kristodian sir, to conduct this event. I welcome you all once again to this event and hope that you all will have a great time ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Excuse
Thank
me,
you.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhakaran.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I will share my screen. And 1 second. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Just give me a moment. I'll join back because I have to share my screen. Some kind of a privileges has to be done from a laptop. So give me a
Okay.
minute.
Yeah. Okay, sir. No problem.
I'll join right away. Thank you. Mr. Prabhakaran, sir, can you provide me access for sharing my screen?
Yeah, I will inform. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So in the meantime, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning time. This weekend, I know, and hope I'm not disturbing any of your fun events. And before we get into the actual topic, I just have a couple of questions and a request to everyone. And the first question is, how many of you here don't understand Tamil? Hello? Guys, you can unmute and respond. It's not a problem.
Students.
என்னாச்சு புரியல ஐயோ யாரு So everyone can understand me, sir.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And the second request is, if you are in a quiet environment, feel free to stay unmute and ask any questions then and then if you feel that you have you need more information. So, okay.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Allow to என்ன சார் பண்ணனும்? Make a host or make a co-host. Co-host மாத்திடுவா?
Yeah, being changed as co-host. Let's hope it works. Let me know when you see my screen, guys. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please don't call me sir, please. Okay. We'll get started. Prabhakaran sir, I got access. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
We'll get started. Okay, my name is Custodian John Brito, and you can call me Chris if you have any questions to raise throughout the session. And I'm a software engineer, and I closely follow science and technology on every milestone. So that keep me motivated in my job and the gadgets I own. So that's about me in a nutshell. Let's move into the topic. Pay close attention to what I'm going to say next, because that is an African proverb. You will miss something, which says, "Apatapeta lesa tapafuka chushi." Let me repeat, "Apatapeta lesa tapafuka chushi," which means when God cooks, there won't be any smoke. Pay attention to the meaning. When God cooks, there won't be any smoke. I almost heard this proverb 17 years back, and it took more than 17 years for me to understand the wisdom behind this proverb. Today, I will explain you in my life experiences and the lessons I've learned and the regrets I have, that few things that I should have known when I graduated out of my college. And speaking of regrets, and I thank the college management for providing this opportunity, because these are the things that I wish that I know when I stepped out of the college. So a privilege to share this with the people who was in college right now is big. So thank you, the college management, for providing me this opportunity. So we'll continue. Speaking of this proverb, when God cooks, there won't be any smoke. To understand this, we need to know the evolution of cooking. The early human race started cooking Actually, they didn't cook. Some consume raw meat, some consume raw vegetables and all. But unlike animals, human teeth are not designed to cut through meat and bones, which is why people started cooking. At first, they started fire and burned things down, whether it is a plant-based diet or animal-based diet, whatever it is. And the second, on the right side, you can see a chart, how it progressed, how the cooking progressed from one stage to another. And the first gas stove was invented in 1826. And right now, we predominantly use in India the gas stove, and most of the Western countries have moved to electric stove because that is energy efficient than gas, because gas is still, we are burning fossil fuels. That is not great for environment. But the problem is totally not about cooking. But somehow the creator of the proverb, I'll link that to cooking, because cooking has two outcomes: one, intended outcome; two, an unintended outcome. The intended outcome is obviously food. So the unintended outcome is smoke. So seeing the evolution, we progressed a lot in both the aspects, both food and smoke. There used to be a lot of smoke in the early human cooking, and slowly that got reduced. Right now we are close to cook without no smoke in the electric one, but we cannot avoid smoke. Remember, only God can cook without smoke. We humans, we cannot. Keep this analogy in your mind. It will make sense. Hopefully it will make sense at the end of the session. The next, there's a question to everyone. It's like, how easy it is to cross a road back in 1900s, the busy road, possibly take Chennai Mount Road or something. You can respond, you can unmute and respond. Let's make this session a little bit interactive. How easy it is to cross a road back in 1900s. Come on, guys, let's make things a little bit interactive. If you're in a quiet environment, just keep the mic unmuted. Subconsciously, we'll respond to questions. Okay. I would say it's very easy to cross a road back in 1900s. And you don't have to be additionally cautious to cross a road. And if you're behaving the same now and crossing the road, you'll probably at least injured. In the worst case, things could go fatal. That's because the rules, traffic, and so many parameters have added on in this past century. Just crossing a road is a mundane task. Even crossing a road like a mundane task got this much complicated. I'm sure our lives and the competition that we go through everywhere that you step in after graduation, your job, winning a girl, winning a guy, everything got complicated. So not just mundane task, everything got complicated. And if you don't comply with the complications as it evolves, you will lose the game. That's the crest of it. Let me tell you an example. The next slide, back in 1800s, people used to cut ice from the frozen lake and then transport to a different cities, which are sunny actually, so they can sell ice. Let's call that as ice version 1. But there's a problem in this ice version 1. If ice is a product, ice is a food, smoke is a problem. So in this case, the smoke is you cannot harvest ice in summer times. So people can only have ice in the winter. So that is the problem. Every time when you see an innovation, you have to see a problem and work towards this so that the next version will fix that. That is the hope, and that is the expectation from every engineer who step out of the college right now. So the first version of ice, there is a huge problem. The problem is only in the winter time you can harvest ice, and in the summer you cannot. And someone invented version 2 of ice, which is manufacturing ice cubes in a factory, the giant ice cubes in factories. That's version 2. Regardless of the season, whether it is a summer or winter, you can harvest ice. This is still challenging because it's not accessible for every household person. So, but still, it's an evolution because it's far more better than the previous version. The third version is someone created a refrigerator, and then we got ice anytime we want in the house. And the fourth version is the refrigerator got evolved a little bit bigger and started giving chunks of cubes of ice and started giving cold water, just like a tap. So this is the evolution of ice. If we pay a close attention to these versions, I'm sure the people who participated in version 1 never invented version 2. The people who invented version 2 never invented version 3, and so on. When you stop innovating, you will get outdated. This is the highest problem the world current has. But in this if this analogy is not understandable to you, there is one more analogy. It's like recently you may have seen a movie, Karnan, played by Dhanush. And in that Karnan movie, there is a song, Tattan Tata. And in the middle of the song, you will have 4 lines of lyrics, which says this. உழவன் வயலில இறங்கி கூரா நாத்தையும் பிரிச்சு பொன்னா நிலத்தையும் காத்த பெருங்குடியா உழக்குடியா, which means we cultivated the land and we have become the highest order, at least in the human race. And the next line says, பாட்டன் நஞ்சைய தொலைச்சான் பூட்டன் புஞ்சைய தொலைச்சான் கல்லா கடவுளும் கிடக்க காடானோம் கூலி குடியானோம். So we used to be masters and we cultivated the lands, we converted the marsh lands into the cultivatable lands. That's a great achievement. But slowly our great-great-grandfather has lost some of the land, and the next version has lost some other land. And finally, the one who used to be a landlords are now daily wages. That's exactly what this line says in that movie. And it's perfectly okay for the previous generation to sing the song and to blame God, because there is a line to blame God in that song. Kalla kadavulum kidakka kadanum kuli kudiyanum. So it's perfect to blame God. It's okay to blame God for them because they don't have electricity all the time 24/7 like we do, and they don't have proper roof on top of their head, and they don't get to have education. They don't have the privilege. Not many people had the privilege of learning something. So because of which, they have to do what their ancestors used to do. So that's why the classic example, the ice, just like the ice version, in this story, the classic example is agriculture. So we used to own a lot of land and then we cultivated, but other commodities like vegetables, fertilizer, and everything, the cost of it got increased, the cost of living got increased. The farmers, they don't have any option. They have to sell a little chunk of their land to afford the other commodities. That's how they lose one after the other, and finally the ones used to be landlords have become daily wages. That's the song says. But this generation, we don't have anything to blame like that. We have electricity 24/7. Pretty much 90% of the household, even though it's a lower middle class, has air conditioning in their house. And so we have pretty much all the luxuries. So as soon as you stepped into college, I'm sure you'll have a smartphone, which lets you to connect to the world 24/7. So there is zero excuses that you can give. So don't get outdated in the race. Just participate in it. Who knows? Maybe you will find a version 5 of refrigerator. I look forward to it. The next thing we are going to talk about is Never put your heart in any innovation, but put your brains instead. This is a very important point. Anytime when people fell in love with the innovation, they lose their mind. It's like, I like cars typically. It's like, honestly, because I, along with my brother, I run a YouTube channel on automobiles. So I really like cars. But there is a huge race that's happening. It's like when people first started harvesting the fossil fuels from underneath the earth, they processed and they created different kinds of fuel, coal, gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and everything. And back in those times, starting a oil mining business was a huge thing. Whoever has started oil mining business won the game. Dubai, for example, Dubai has nothing else, nothing other than oil. And the king clearly knows that the oil will be over in less than 50 years. So he created all these skyscrapers, huge buildings and party towns just to keep the Dubai's revenue up and running forever. I think they won on that front because skyscrapers and glass buildings you can only see in countries with low temperature, US, United States, United Kingdoms, Russia, and those type of countries because they don't get much of a sun. So they put a building, and the little sun they get, it'll get absorbed into the building. So that's the idea. And Dubai, it's hotter, way hotter than India, and having to see the skyscrapers with the glass everywhere. That's how they commercialized it. Coming back to the point, when you put your heart into innovation, heart doesn't care about any rational values. It'll just defend. When I say like I like cars, when people think about ending the production of internal combustion engines, the actual engine cars that we drive today, and they are planning to move to a next generation, which is electric or hybrid cars for that matter, or hydrogen cars. That's the third option. Not many people are aware of that. When that solution has been suggested in some of the meetings, if you like cars and if you put your heart in innovation, you will defend. No. This ICEs should live. ICEs mean internal combustion engines, which is typically there in every other cars. Should live forever. That's the pinnacle of engineering. All those things we can say, but if you put your head instead, if you continue to use fossil fuels at least for the next 200 years, our great grandchildren will not have a planet to live. And I'm glad that countries are working towards a plan, and every few years they are bringing in some norms which is reducing the pollution, and somehow it helped. And the famous ozone layer hole that we used to talk about in 80s is no longer there. It's closed itself. The nature has done its magic and it's closed itself on 2020. It doesn't mean that we can forget and then you go on and still use fossil fuel cars and then you spoil the environment as much as possible so that there is no place left for the future generation. That's wrong. So when you put your heart in innovation, you will defend that. You will not think rational. So put your brain instead. That's when you will listen. Even though you love that product, you will listen, how can we make this a little bit better? And how can we get rid of this if it is not doing any good to the environment? You have to think that way. And one more important disappointing news for every engineers out there is, how many of you know this guy? His name is Arunachalam Muruganandam. And 5 years back, it was hard to know him. But right now, because of the movie Padman, many would be familiar of this face. Right? Yes, no, maybe. Am I audible or I'm talking to myself? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm audible then. Great. Have you ever heard of this guy, Arunachalam Muruganandam?
No, sir.
Okay, just after this session, you can go and look on the internet about him. He's a mechanic. He was a mechanic at least. He was a mechanic who's only 8th standard, I believe. He didn't learn anything more than that. And he invented a low-cost sanitary napkin pad. And then when he found that it's working, and he even got a Padma Bhushan for that. Padma Shri, I believe. Sorry if that is a mistake. It's either one of those. And there is a movie about him, Padman. Akshay Kumar played in that. So if you get a chance, learn about this guy because it's inspiring. Being an 8th standard, that's the highest education he had. And there is no way he can frame a decent sentence in English, but somehow he gave a speech in Harvard University in the United States. And in that speech, he quoted that there is no job for all engineers that graduate every year because the number of engineers is huge. So his suggestion is look for a problem, look around and find a problem that excites you. Provide a solution to that problem and be a solution provider. This way, you can get the job you like. The problem could be anything. Chennai's traffic is also another problem. Chennai's waste management is another problem. I'm just quoting Chennai because we are in Chennai. So if you have any problems in the place you live, look for that problem. Keep thinking about the problem day in and day out, and let your imagination play wild. And I am sure that you will find a solution for that, because one thing that has no boundary is imagination, and that's where all solution for all the problems we have lies. So let your imagination go wild and look for problems. Keep looking. And if you find an interesting problem, and if you think somebody is already solving the problem effectively, join them, associate your profession with them, and then contribute yourself to that. Because there is no one innovator in a field. I'm sure many of us in our home use a mixer grinder made by Preeti, right? Preeti can guarantee all those advertisements. There is a new player in the game, it's Vidium. You may have seen in the supermarkets, and some may have even owned them. Preeti and Vidium are based out of the same company. Preeti has been started by a bunch of people, and the same bunch of people, among the bunch of people, someone realized that we are not doing a great job and something has to be improved, but it's not happening in Preeti. So they stepped out of Preeti and then created Vidium. So that's why you can see a lot of similarities between the Preeti and Vidium products, whether it is a mixer grinder or gas stove or anything, that's your that's your daily usage products. So if you see someone who's solving the problem that you wish to solve, join them. If you think they are not doing a great job, join the competitor. If you think none of them are doing a great job, then definitely time will push you to create your own brand. But first step is you have to look around and find a problem. And below, there are a few problems. There is a dyeing plant, and there is a car engine. And below, there's a 6-cylinder engine where the intake manifold is going to create an explosion. If we see, cannot fix a dyeing plant using mechanical tools. And this is a very primitive, nobody does that, but still, okay, you get the idea. And you cannot fix a burning intake manifold by pouring water on top of it. My point is, grow your social network. Don't just learn engineering, because the solutions you are looking for is not on the same place. Suppose you find a problem, it's very interesting, but you only have engineering friends around you and hoping to find a solution. When you will be in half of the picture, either left half or the right half. But if you have a social network with a variety of people who are mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and all kind of engineering, even mundane people, collectively you can find a great solution. So grow your social network. This is something I regret very late in my life, because when you want to do something out of the ordinary, you need contacts out of the ordinary people. So grow your social network. You will be surprised how a completely two different departments can come close together to create a solution which we never imagined. For example, if you think of a car, we think of the creator as mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, right? There's one odd other department as involved and has evolved and has contributed to the automobile industry more than anything, more than the mechanical engineer itself. Can you guess that? Anybody? It's completely irrelevant to automobile. It's completely irrelevant to electrical, but they have contributed in a way automobile industry is stable right now. Otherwise, it would have been a chaos. Okay. On the right hand side, you can look a shiny silver kind of thing. We call that as a catalytic converter, which lies below the car. And there is a couple of names beneath that, Mr. Mooney and Carl D. Keith. Mr. Mooney is a mechanical engineering and Carl D. Keith is a chemical engineering. Yes, he's a chemical engineer. And together they found a device that is very much useful in automobile industry. As a matter of fact, it saved billions of people from getting lung cancer and throat cancer. Let me tell you about catalytic converter and how it made a huge difference. Because in this case, the thing that we have to pay close attention to is two different departments, one mechanical engineering, one chemical engineering, nowhere related, but somehow they came together. Let's go back to the previous slide. This slide, when I say internal combustion engine, that's how every 99% of the Indian cars run. At least in other countries, they have alternate automobiles, whether it is a hydrogen car or it is electric or it's a hybrid, they have alternates. But in India, we don't have much of an alternate. We still use a internal combustion engine. As a matter of fact, India is the third country to emit the highest emission in the world. The first one is China, and the second one is United States of America, and the third one is India. And every nation is doing their best to avoid and move away from this internal combustion engine. And unfortunately, a solution for the problem is not by stop using that, because we still need cars. Cars is a productivity tool. It takes us from one place to another on time. So that is something you really needed. So coming back to the internal combustion engines. Internal combustion engine, by the name suggests, it's internally a combustion is happening, which is running the car. Combustion is an explosion. So just like cooking in an explosion happens within the engine, there are two outcomes, one an intended outcome, the other one is unintended outcome, byproduct. The first intended outcome is the car moving. That's a good thing, positive. The unintended outcome is smoke. Whenever there is an explosion, there is a smoke, because only God can cook without smoke. The humans, we are not qualified for that. So that smoke that get released from the engine cylinders are very harmful. Somehow, this Mr. Mooney and Carl D. Keith invented this device. The smoke will be transferred through this and through the exhaust pipe out. Inside this device, you will see a lot of tiny mesh-like structure, which is coated with some kind of a chemical material. And when the smoke passes through it, the chemical compound breaks the smoke and it absorbs most of the harmful element and lets out the smoke. But still, that's harmful. That's a little bit. That is why they have been provided a patent, and they have been appreciated that they saved billions from getting throat cancer and lung cancer. So you'll be surprised on seeing how two completely different departments can come together and find a solution that serve humanity better. Going back to the previous slide, grow your social network. Don't just learn engineering, because solutions that you're looking for are not in the same place. The next thing, the most important thing, as soon as you graduate, I have seen 90% of the people making this mistake, and that includes me. And somehow I was able to correct after my first profession. associate your profession with why, not the what and how. Okay, just read the sentence again. Associate your profession with why, not the what and how. What and how are what kind of skill set you possess and how many years of experience you have, how efficiently that you will do a job. All those things will come on what and how. Unfortunately, why is completely out of the picture in most of the IT jobs, at least, because it is how it is. Because in computer engineer, we code for any and possible anything that we can be part of. It's like if you are part of a pharmaceutical industry, we can create projects that help them to do the research and manage the data better. And if you are a part of a, automobile company, you create you write code to assist the cars and the way they operate. So we computer engineers are capable of associating ourselves with anything, any department. The reason I accidentally landed in pharmaceutical industry and then I stayed there. The reason I stayed there is I kind of lost someone very close to me to cancer. And if somebody is doing something about it, hell yeah, I'm going to contribute to that. That is how I landed in a pharmaceutical industry and I stayed there. Visit this. If someone is solving the problem you wish to solve, you don't have to learn the solution. You can contribute, join them, contribute. That is why I chose to stay in this job, and what and how keep on changing, because the skill set is something you can acquire very easily. And pretty much unlike any other era, this era has the highest online courses. So you can pretty much learn about anything right now in online. So skills and experience doesn't matter. Associate your profession with why, not the what and how. If you take a research candidate who's trying to find a medicine for any deadly disease or COVID itself for that matter, they pretty much stay in the same kind of streamline of work throughout their life. They start in one company, possibly they spend 10 or 15 years, and then they move to a different organization. They'll spend another 10 or if they are equally motivated monetarily and also challenging, they will stay there. I've seen people who have stayed in a company forever. But only the IT people jump from one company to another company in less than 3 years. So because of this, you know why this is happening? That's because we are associating the profession with the what and how. We are not associating the profession with why. So when you graduate, try to associate your profession with why first, and then what and how will follow that if your why is so strong. Okay, if the why cannot be money, I'm pretty sure about that, because money is a byproduct. If you do a great job, any industry will pay you competitively. So why can't be money? It must be something you believe. It must be something that your contribution, you believe that your contribution can make a difference. Find that department, find that portfolio. The perks of doing this is, I have seen people who follow this mode of working, stepped into an organization, and they work for the domain. Yeah, and there is one more thing I want to clarify to all the college people is like the students is like, domain is not the technology we work, because that's how I used to believe when I stepped out of college and everybody asked what domain you are in, and I respond like Java or something else, some other technical knowledge. That's rubbish, because domain is not the technology. That is skills and experience. That's what and how. Domain is the department that you work for. Is a pharmaceutical, it's an automobile, it's a banking, it's an insurance company. That is the domain. Domain is not the technologies. Just know this. So if somebody asks you what domain that you work on, as soon as you land in your first job, don't tell your technology. Technology has nothing to do with it. It's just a tool. If you don't know how to use a hammer, probably you will hit somewhere and you're not the actual nails part. And within a couple of days, you will be decently qualified to use a hammer. That's how every technology is. So domain is not the skill set or the experience that you have. Domain is the department that you work. Again, I repeat, associate your profession with why and not what and how. I've seen people who associated their profession with why, have started the career and they stayed in the company or the same or a different company, which work on the same goal. And finally, they have become part of the department. That's most important. This is most important, guys, that they have become part of the department. It's like the more you work on a same department, you understand the workflow. You understand what happens. The more you work on a car company, you understand what is the customer expectation in a car and how well we can write optimized coding to make the infotainment system of a car or an instrument cluster on a car work better. So the more you do that, at some point you will land in an actual car company itself instead of a company that is branded to do only IT service to all the giants. They don't have any goal. They only have goal to aim money. Aim different companies and then earn money. I've seen people who work first 2 years in insurance and then they'll jump to bank and then they'll jump to pharmaceutical and then they'll jump to automobile, aviation. There is no point in such profile because you cannot make a difference. Associate your profession with why, not the what and how. Okay. In the IT world and even the office terms, there is a word called boilerplate. Boilerplate is something which has to be there and which can be reused, but it is not going to add an actual value to the business per se. For example, if I'm developing an app, boilerplate is a code that logs all the user requests and monitors the memory usage in the backend and sends the report to the actual support team, the team who is managing the application. And whenever something goes wrong, when a user clicks a button in an app and then it says something went wrong, just you will get a simple pop-up in the Android or Apple or any operating system for that matter, saying something went wrong. And the user will be frustrated. And if you don't have enough logging framework in the backend, you cannot go ahead and ask the user, hey, can you do one more time whatever that you did to get that pop-up? That's wrong. Nobody does that, because if you do that, your app will lose the usability metrics. So boilerplate code is something we write all the time, but it won't add any value to the customer. It's not a new module. It's not enhanced. It's not a new feature in an app. It's not a feature that enhance. It's nothing like that. It's no way visible to the customer, not just in software engineering, by anything, but boilerplate is very much needed. Similarly, before you graduate, there are some boilerplate that you have to achieve that is going to make your life way more easier. I wish somebody has given this list to me when I graduated, because it took a long time for me to realize, per se 7 to 10 years. So the first one is so we'll quickly go through that one by one, and then we will discuss in detail. The first one is think of passive income. Think of learn about share market. Most 99% of people, you guys have a smartphone with you, because we cannot survive without WhatsApp, right? That's how communicating or Telegram, communicating with others. No forward messages on that crap I'm talking about. We talk about all the things. So we still have a smartphone, 99%. So think of a passive income, learn share market, or start a YouTube channel. And most importantly, if you're starting a YouTube channel, don't start a YouTube channel without a goal. I have seen plenty of Tamil channel. I don't want to blame them, because that's how market works, and YouTube is ready to pay them as long as they keeps the traffic engaged. It's like I've seen plenty of Tamil channel who don't add any value to the viewers, any value. They just put all kind of nonsense, and that's purely for entertainment purpose. Unfortunately, this generation, by means including me, is constantly looking for deviation from responsibilities. So when it is in your hand 24/7, I mean your phone, it becomes easy. and you go and watch some meme, and then you boom, without knowing, you will already spend 2 hours in Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or YouTube watching some funny videos. But unfortunately, it is not going to add any value to your life by any means, and the time that is lost is gone. Think of passive income. There are so many YouTube channels teaching the share market basics. You don't have to invest in thousands and 10,000 lakhs. You can invest. There are shares out there even for 1 rupee. You can invest 100 rupees per month. By the time you finish college, you will be mastered in that. Which shares to choose, which share to invest. So think of passive income. And if you are starting a YouTube channel, don't start without a goal. Start only with a goal. If you're going to start some sodhanagal, something like that, it's not fun, because we have so many people who are looking for diversion, and their energy has to be directed to something of great cause, for global warming reduction, or thinking about the solutions to the real-time problems that we have in our society. But unfortunately, all those time being sucked up by these kind of YouTube channels. And if you create one, their blood will be in your hands. So don't create a YouTube channel without a goal. And the second one is, don't give more importance or fight over celebrities. I've seen people in my college and in the place where I live, they fight over celebrities. Doesn't have to be big screen celebrities. They are either go behind a sports person and they will attack one another verbally, physically, do all those nonsense. And it is not, again, it's not adding any values to your life. In this front, I really appreciate two actors, the Fahad Fazil, the Malayali actor, and the Goundamani, a legend. Because once Goundamani said, காசுக்காக நான் நடிச்சேன், சந்தோஷத்துக்காக நீங்க பாத்தீங்க, அதோட உனக்கு எனக்கு உறவு முடிஞ்சு போச்சு, போய் குடும்பத்தை கவனிங்க. This is a very simple dialogue he spit it out as casually as in one of the press meets. So we need more people, more celebrities like him. And Fahad Fazil once said, the younger generation's mind power and their potential has to be diverted to solving world problems and contribute to the society in a great way. Unfortunately, all those energy and potential has been used in a fan base and fan fight. It's really worrying to see that. Fahad Fazil once said this, and no celebrity will say this. I have seen celebrities who have taken selfies with people who tattooed their face or names in the chest. A responsible celebrity would pay for the laser removal treatment of the tattoo, and then they will give a press meet about to the fans not to do this kind of stuff and ask them to concentrate on their life, career, family, just like how Goundamani did. And if your celebrity fan base is not doing that, they are doing it for money. Don't get spoiled. Don't get your life spoiled by them. So don't give more importance or fight over celebrities. The next one is a very strong advice I got from my mother. You must know to say no. Sometimes very rarely we will be able to put our concentration together to work on something. On that time, some of our friends will come and will call us for beach or park or anything. Most of the times, we won't be able to say no because that's not our strong trait. That was never taught in college or school, or even parents don't teach that. So you must know to say no so that you can gain your time back. This is a very competitive world. The moment you close your eyes, you will be hundreds of steps. You will take hundreds of steps backwards. And the next most important thing that helped me to get rid of my too much time being spent on my phone. Excuse me, sorry about that. Too much time being spent on phone is retrace every day. It's like no matter if you're using Android or Apple, there is still an app. I think in Android there is a health check app which shows you how many hours that you spent on what all the apps. If you spend 2 hours in an app, it will show the total amount of time that is being spent on an app. So at the end of every day before going to the bed, check that app and see if you have spent more than 2 hours. If it is more than 2 hours, you are in a very bad shape. Get rid of that. If the tip that helped me is when I find I use more than 2 hours in phone and considerable amount in any entertainment app, because that will show you the graph and app wise, no matter which phone you use, either iPhone or Android, it will show you graph. But if you see some app is consuming a lot of your time, uninstall that app for the next week. Definitely you will fall back to some other app and then uninstall that one as well. So slowly you do that, you will get a vacuum. That vacuum definitely you will fill with the positive things. So retrace your day, especially with the smartphone. I wish someone has said this. I found this myself very late. Probably I could have completed more than 5 online courses on the time, made my career and contributed to my job and more. So, but I've started making those changes in a very late stage. So retrace your steps every day. And the next one is interesting. Create a physical to-do list and strike off with the pen. Sorry about the typo. Strike off with a pen that will give you a dopamine effort, that will give you a self pride, that will give you a pride. It's like if you say, help mom to wash clothes or do the dishes, write it on a paper. And after you do that, go and take a pen and then strike it off. That will give you some kind of satisfaction. That's a positive satisfaction. So create a physical to-do list and strike with a pen that will give you dopamine effort, that will encourage you to do more of that. And no matter what you do, present it well. This is something I have done a huge mistake in my college days and my early career days. I don't spend much money on clothes. I don't used to spend much of money on decent clothes or on the tools that I have to own, whether it be a bike or car. So in that case, no matter what you do, present it well. If you think some tools is going to make your world a little bit more productive, gain it. And if you don't have a money, go and join a part-time job, because nothing is shameful in this country and every job is treated equal. Go and job and a part-time job, because I wish someone has told this to me when I was in college. And there is a stupid word around the youngsters and still lies even in my world. In Tamil, we call that as a gettu. And unfortunately, that word translates to bullying right now, because the people who are not capable of working towards something and then winning in that and using that as a pride will take a different route, and they will put the collars up and do all those nonsense, and they call themselves as get to know that. Don't do that, because definition of get is not going to take you anywhere. I've seen people who used to use that word more often and still in the same phase of life. So if you think that's get to know that's not get, you have to get rid of that word. And the eighth one is, I just started this, but this is going to make a huge difference if you know right out of the college, which is learn to type 100 plus words per minute. Right now, my typing speed words per minute is 40 or something. I used to be 20, right now it's 40. So try to use all your 10 fingers and type 100 plus words per minute. There are practically hundreds of websites which lets you take this test of how many words you can type per minute with what percentage of accuracy. And if you are using backspace more often, then your accuracy will drop. And if you're making mistakes and typos in a word, then that word will not be counted. So there are hundreds of websites to test that. So today, when you get a chance, take a minute, because like it says, it's a 1 minute test. Take that minute and you will be given a paragraph. Just keep typing. When the timer hits 0, you cannot type anymore. And then you see if it is below 20, you are in a bad shape. And if you're using only 2 fingers to type or 2 or 3 fingers to type using your entire keyboard, you can change, because right now I have a lot of things to do. I have to learn technology, I have to complete my work, I have to take care of all the business and household activities, and you students have a lot of time. And learning typing is going to land you, is going to give you a lot more additional time. So learn to type 100 plus words per minute. I think the highest words per minute is 158 or something, but you can break that if you want to. And invest your time and energy into fitness. This is said by Vijay Sethupathi, the actor. I really like him, practical guy. Okay, they invest your time and energy in fitness, because when you're fit, you won't do this kind of nonsense of having alcohol or having getting a smoke then and then, because that will spoil your physique that you invested your time and your energy in building that. The people who are into fitness are very less likely spoil their physical health by drinking or smoking. So invest your time and energy in fitness. Could be anything, sports, gym, running, anything. And the 10th one is watch TV shows and movies that can expand your imagination. I don't. We didn't had the privilege. I didn't had the privilege back in my college days, because those days even smartphones were not that much popular, and we used keypad phones. God, this make things how old I am. We used keypad phones, and only in the third year or something we got in touch with the smartphones. Until then, we used keypad phones. But the TV shows, there are a lot of TV shows. There are a lot of TV shows that are going to expand your imagination. Like I said, all the problems that we face right now in this society, the solution is in your imagination. Just, just let your imagination go wild and learn any sport, any game, be it a cricket, volleyball, basketball, badminton. Badminton is readily available throughout the city, so you can pay and still play every day. So that is an interesting thing. So learn any sport. These are the boilerplates, are not going to add any value, because learning these, people are not going to give you a job. Learning these, people are not going to appreciate it. But learning this is going to help you huge. You will know that you will realize the difference day and night every time you learn one of these skills. Give it a try. First one, maybe you can start with typing. Most probably every one of you has a every one of you has a sorry, somehow somebody has dropped in a message in the chat. Okay, every one of you has a laptop and a smartphone, so learn typing and create that physical to-do list, retrace every day using the app. Those kind of things help us better. And finally, no matter what you do, there will always be smoke. Now you understand the proverb, right? There's intended outcome, there's an unintended outcome. The intended outcome is food, the unintended outcome is smoke. No matter what you cook, there will always be smoke. Keep thinking about how to make the food taste better and healthier, and most importantly, how to reduce the smoke on every iteration. Don't stay behind on every version, otherwise you will be lost. The fate of our society and the world lies with you, and it's our duty to hand over the Mother Earth to the next generation with as much as less damage as possible. Thank you, everyone. I'll repeat, apatapatalesa tapafukachushi. When God cooks, there won't be any smoke. Thank you, and I open the next 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A. At least now you can unmute and shoot your questions no matter what it is.
Since there is a market risk for mutual funds and stocks.
There is a risk for everything, and it's like how much risk you're willing to take is the question. It's like there was a time, it's like when a CEO of a pencil company was talking on the on a stage, and one of the employees or someone in the press meet raised.
I did saw the video.
Yes, that's the point. You get the idea, right? Suppose if when others didn't see, people get paid only for the risk they take. It doesn't have to be mutual funds. Right now, I'm not asking you to spend and invest thousands and lakhs rupees. I'm asking you to invest 100 rupees per month. That is what,
But
one third
like
of the
it
pizza you have.
invest in SIP.
Sorry?
I did plan to do it like a sequential monthly investment.
That's great. But explore share market options. That's more interesting. The one more perks of getting into share marketing than this mutual funds and all, you get to know what happens in the world. Because when the share drops, when the points end low in a day, and you will be curious why it happened. Why it happened as soon as the Omicron variant hit South Africa, and many shareholders has lost quite a lot. So when you own a little share and then when something drops, you'll be curious, hey, what happens? Why suddenly the share went down? That curiosity will expand your knowledge. You will know more about the world and how world trade works. That's why mutual funds, you're not doing anything. You're just putting in money and then waiting, hoping that it will grow. But the inflation will eat that away mostly. So share market, there is a two intended outcome are there. The first intended outcome is obviously you invest and your money grows. And second intended outcome is your knowledge grows. As usual, no matter what we do, there will be always smoke. The smoke is you could possibly lose everything. So that's the smoke. Take the risk when you're young. Next question. You can ask me anything because you're still in college. At least I have spent 10 years in the corporate world. And if you have any questions on it, no matter how mundane or even though you think it's a silly question, somebody may get benefited out of it. So shoot your questions.
What do you think about ITR?
Sorry?
Income tax return? And talking about the GST something.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, I believe. It's like 40 or 50 years back, there is no tax. And people, the solution for this stuff, I suggest you read a book named Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Heard of it?
I also read it, but didn't complete it.
Yeah, because government needs money to run the government. The political parties needs money to run the government, and unfortunately, very less resources being owned by public corporations, and slowly it's being privatized, and there's not much revenues being generated. So tax, yeah, that is a pretty unfortunate because when we are paying hefty tax, at least we expect something in return, like a free medical services and free schoolings or free college, but we don't get any of these. And the main problem in India is population, because only 30% of the population is working, and their taxes is used to serve rest of the 70%. It's pretty unfortunate, but that's the country we live in. And again, don't see it as a problem. See it as a chance. Like I said, there is no job for everybody who gets graduated out of the college. Look for problems. If income tax and this GST, if you find that as a problem, find a way around it. As long as there is a problem, there is a solution in your imagination. I don't have a solution. As a matter of fact, I am pretty disappointed as well, but I don't have a solution. But this is not exactly a problem. This is a possibility. Next question. Come on, no matter how small it is, you can ask.
Do you believe health insurance?
Yes, because we live in a country where education and medicine are being treated as business. Okay, I see a lot of messages in the chat. Okay, we live in a country where medicine and what education is being treated as business mostly. Unfortunate again. So having a health insurance is very much needed because some catastrophic damage, if you'll end up, you or your loved ones end up in hospital, you don't have to worry or gather money on that time. So health insurance is a very much needed thing. Yes. And it's a good thing that any corporate that you join right now is offering health insurance pretty much, at least to the active participant and their spouse, and some offer insurance even for their parents. So corporate has streamlined a few things. Insurance is one of those. Yeah, insurance is very much needed. Thank you. Next question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a time to wind up this session, sir. Can we wind up this session now?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I will ask Dr. Simi Madam to give the vote of thanks to wind up this session now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'm Custodian, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you switch on, unmute your video, sir? Shall we take a snapshot?
Yeah, one second. I'm just
Yes,
trying
sir.
to figure out all this things.
I request all the participants also to unmute your video so that we can take a snapshot.
Okay, 1 second. Never been this nervous even for taking a passport size photograph. Yeah.
Thank you, Custodian, sir. So we'll go for the vote of thanks. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this great event. I would like to thank our chief guest speaker, Mr. Custodian, software engineer, AstraZeneca India Private Limited, for his thought-provoking talk on successful innovations and innovators. I'd like to thank our honorable chairman, respected vice chairman, and our principal for making this event happen. Last but not least, I take this opportunity to thank our staff members and students for making this event a great successful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.